Hello, Audacious Kids, and welcome to week 5 of Win, Lose or Draw. I've got Joseph's coat back out because I'm very excited because this is a big win at the end of Joseph's life. After all the highs and lows, he wins the prize. He becomes second in charge of Egypt and he rules all the land with his awesome brainwave that God gave him about storing up the food. So he had bags and bags of food aplenty. And even though a famine was coming, all of Egypt was saved. And Joseph was the hero. Awesome, right? I want us to think on this awesome week as we celebrate the brilliance of Joseph's dream coming true. Do you remember the dream he had when he was just a teenage boy? Of the stars and the moons and the sun bowing down to him and his brothers and his family. And one day that's going to happen. And here we are, 40 years later, in Joseph's life, and the dream is coming true. How amazing is that? 40 years later though, hey, it wasn't 5 minutes later, it was 40 years later. But I want us to think this week about when we have a win, how do we behave? Because if I was Joseph, I would have been dancing all over the place and anybody who'd been mean to me along the way, I'd have been like, come on, look at that stuff. You doubted me. You didn't believe in me. Look at my prize. I am there. In fact, I am now as powerful as Pharaoh. And he has done this and made everybody worship him and bow down. And I don't know if you've ever been like that, when you've had a big win, or maybe when somebody else has had a big win and rubbed it in your face. I remember when I was at school, I got picked to play on the chess team. I don't know if you've ever played chess. It's a very thinking game. And I went to another school. We went to play there, and I had a match against this boy who was very, very clever. And we played chess, and I lost. It was pretty bad. He beat me 3 times in a row. He won 3-0 in this game. And it was pretty embarrassing because I lost pretty badly. But this boy was so mean in the way that he won. He was calling me a loser. He was like, oh, what did you do that move for? What is that about? No chance. You are rubbish. I am well beating you. Oh, what? There's no point in you even trying. And he just would go and go and go. And I was like, getting really upset, and he won, but he was probably the horriblest person in the room. And I remember being so crushed by that defeat. And do you know what? I don't think I ever played for the chess team again because it made me feel so rubbish, and it didn't make me feel very good. But I was thinking, what? When you win, is that it? You just get to do whatever you want? Or does maybe God allow us to win and help us to win so that we can actually help other people? Imagine if that boy had said, unlucky, I'm sorry that you lost, but let me give you some tips of how you could have done better. Maybe that would have been a nicer way to do it, I don't know. Maybe I'd be a better chess player now if I'd have learned from that instead of being crushed by the defeat. Now, we all know what it's like to win or lose, but our challenge is, how do we make the most of it? If we win, how can we share the spoils? We think about Joseph. And now he's the king of all of Egypt, all the food. And when his brothers come to him, the same brothers that threw him in the pit and abandoned him, Joseph could have said, nah, this win is just for me. Where's my Pharaoh hat? This win is just for me, not for you, brothers. Nope. You left this ship, so this is just for me. But Joseph didn't do that. In fact, he wanted to share his win with his brothers. And he played this little trick, didn't he? Where he tested them to see if they could learn from their mistakes and their loss. And by doing that, they placed his cup in the sack and tricked the brothers and made their Benjamin have to come and go to prison, and it was all terrible. And he tested their heart. And even in their loss, God was able to speak to them and challenge them. And then Joseph took off his hat. He said, guys, it's me. I've been faithful to God and he's given me this great win. but I want to share it with you guys. Come and live with me in Egypt. Let me read it what he says. It's really good. Chapter 45 of Genesis. He says this, I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed, do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there'll be no plowing or reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then, it was not you that sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of this entire household and ruler of all Egypt. So hurry back to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. How amazing is that? Joseph acknowledged that God had given him the win. It wasn't the brothers that sent him into slavery. It wasn't Joseph's awesome hard work, but God had done this and brought that about. How amazing that he was kind enough, forgiving enough, godly enough to forgive his brothers and share the win with those around him. Now I want you to think, as we come to the end of Joseph's story, such an awesome story, what kind of winner are you? Can you remember what it feels like to lose and actually, as a winner, try and have consideration and understanding and help those around you when you win? How can God use the wins in our lives to help others? Maybe we need to encourage other people. Maybe you finish the test and you find it easy. But you can be a part of helping the person you sat next to or someone else in your class to get through something that they're finding tricky. And actually, God's blessed you with lots of wins. Maybe there's some things, loads of things that you're good at that you can do super easy. It's an easy win. But actually, God wants to use you to help other people around you. Maybe you're blessed. Maybe your family is blessed. Maybe we can give some of our money and with generosity we can give to those around us. Not take our win home and just look after ourselves, but actually be so generous in our win and the amazing things that God has blessed us with. Imagine what our lives would look like, Audacious Kids, if we could share all our wins with those around us and allow others to share theirs with us. What an amazing place that would be to live in. So let's be awesome and know that God can trust us with the win when he gives it to us.